So, how exactly would we take a nice vector graphic like this and quickly convert it into a really awesome user interface feature illustration with parallax? Well, I'm going to show you exactly how. What's up, everybody? Gary Simon here. I know my hair's looking very different. I'm growing it out to this weird phase where it looks like a freaking bowl on my head. We'll just ignore that. But today, I thought I would show you a really cool trick. You know, I know many of you aren't the greatest UI designers. You want to be. Maybe you really wanted an illustrative sort of website that's really vibrant, and you're not an illustrator either. So what do you do in this case? Well, you can hire an illustrator, and that could be very costly. You could try to learn how to do it yourself, but that takes a lot of time because UI design is not illustration. Or you can use one of the many asset sites for illustrations where you can either purchase one or you can get one for free. Now, usually the type of illustrations I'm talking about, they're really high quality, so usually you have to spend a few bucks, literally just a few bucks, in order to buy them, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing in this tutorial here. And just to show you again, this is from Graphicriver.net, and this is just an illustration I found for 12 bucks. All right, it's really nice. I like it a lot, and I'm going to show you how we're going to take it into Adobe Illustrator, and we're going to prepare it to export as a SVG, and then ultimately get it up here and working on a website. And yes, it's even responsive as well. All right, so if you haven't yet, you know the drill. Make sure to subscribe, and let's get started. But wait 1 second, you're about to watch me do a really cool UI design trick. But what if you're just absolutely horrible at UI design in general? Well, that's why you should take my UI design bootcamp at the sponsor of this video, which is Scrimba.com. At Scrimba, you don't just watch videos. No. You're actually able to modify code in the browser while you learn. My course on UI design features over 100 lessons that are specifically tailored to help you become an awesome UI designer, and they're packed with interactive challenges. So click the very first link here in the YouTube description to access my course along with many others for a very low monthly fee. All right, so this process is going to begin here on Graphicriver.net. Now, there are many different sites that you can buy vector illustrations from. There's many that are free, but in my experience, the free ones, you're not going to get something that, in my opinion, unless you're lucky, something that's really of a high level quality. And also, the chances are there's going to be a lot of people using the free stuff, so it won't be 100% unique if that's something that's important to you. So Graphicriver.net, this is a marketplace where you can buy a bunch of different types of stuff, audio, graphics, of course. So if I just type in here, nature, and we go to vectors, we have a bunch of vector illustrations that somehow, some way have something to do with nature in them. And so what I'm looking for is a graphic that's really good quality, and also something that can work with how I envision the user interface to appear at the landing page. I really like this one right here. And my idea is to not just have a user interface or a landing page where we have maybe in one column you have the illustration just as is, and then on the left column you have everything else. No, I want an illustration that really consumes and defines the whole layout. It's like the feature of it. And so, like in this case, if I were to download this and purchase it for $8, I would probably take this background right here and just make it the entire background of the web page, and that way we could position her in a certain way, either in the middle, like coming up from the bottom, or to the right, or whatever. So you have a lot of options. I'm not going to use that one though. I believe the one that I used is right here. All right. So this one was 12 bucks. I downloaded it. I bought it obviously. And my idea behind choosing this one is that I could basically take this background right here, make that the background of the entire web page, and then take this graphic and fill it out all the way. And so I'm going to show you exactly also how to apply the parallax as well. So again, you don't have to buy this obviously to follow along, but if you want to follow along just to see and just watch, just see what I do and how I am able to set this SVG up properly, then go ahead and keep watching, of course. All right, so I'm going to go ahead to Adobe Illustrator here, and this is the graphic in and of itself. So this is not the, okay, this is the original graphic that, I opened up, and there's a few adjustments you need to make. First of all, this background right here, don't want it, because really what I would do to show what it'll look like, kind of like if the background were fully that color, this is what it looks like. It looks nice, and if you can imagine it fully stretched out, it would look like one giant awesome graphic. So that will be the background color of the actual website. Now next up, the way I envision this is to take everything and scale it out to the sides just to where it kind of cuts off some of the trees on the left and the right. So when we export this from, or we save this from Adobe Illustrator, it's going to automatically cut these off. It won't include that in the SVG. Now you can see there's a little element here that is barely noticeable. So I'm gonna have to go to my artboard tool here and just push that up a little bit. And then the next part, which is a little bit time consuming, is I need to select all of the various shapes in preparation for the parallax effect. And so nothing is grouped up here. So as you can see, parts of the mountain range are moving around. So I'm gonna take these, I'm holding shift to select them all. Let's see if nope, I have that one too, and this and that. Looks like that too. And that's the mountain range. So I'm gonna hit Control G once I have everything selected, and then rename this layer, because all of these layers get exported in SVG code as ID names. So the layer name is the ID name, the ID attribute in HTML. So this is gonna be mountain. All right, next up will be these trees. So like this tree, maybe that tree. Actually, no, that doesn't make sense. Let me just take these trees. We'll group them and we'll call these tree 1. And then I'll do the same thing here, 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 here. And maybe we'll call those trees 3. Group. All right, and then finally we'll take these. Oops. Group those, and that'll be tree 4. All right, now we have this little kind of a landmass, if you want to call it, right here. So let's move that. Oops, I forgot that. Wait, did I? Oh, Gary. Let me think here. So like this, and that, and then that. Why do I keep on not selecting? Oh, I think it's that. There we go. Now we can go ahead and call that hills. All right. And then finally, I'll select this lake kind of thing, but in doing so, I will hit shift to deselect our various groups that we created. So now it's just selecting that. Now, for some reason, there's like trees selected here. Yeah, I don't want those. Okay, so now I hit group, and then we'll rename that group to lake. And there we go. So that's all I want. So now we're ready to export this. So we're gonna go to File, Save As. I'm gonna go into the current project folder. I did make a folder for this project already. It's empty, it just has some CSS. You'll see it in a second. We're gonna create an images folder, and we'll just call this illustration, and we'll change this to SVG, save, and okay. All right. Now we're actually not gonna use the SVG code or image. We're gonna copy the code from here. Of course, there's a lot of cleanup you can do with this. But for now, before we get to that step, let's I'll just quickly outline. I just have some boilerplate HTML and an index.html file. We're linking up our CSS main.css. We're using Sass here for this, although I don't even know if I'm using Sass at all features, so you don't have to necessarily. And that's basically it. So I'm going to right click, open with Live Server, which is a Live Server extension. And there we go. And let's get started with some initial markup here. So what we're going to have is an overall container that will hold everything. So I'm using M abbreviations for that. H1 is going to be go camping. Paragraph is going to be do something fun with your family. You're boring. All right, and then we take our SVG and we're going to put it in here. Now the reason I'm not going to use an image tag for the SVG is because I do want to animate specific elements within. There's a lot of it here. Just going all the way to the very bottom. We're going to go and paste that in, and we're going to hit save, and we're going to see how utterly ugly everything is. But as you can see, it almost already spans out. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to get that background color. So I already got that background color before. So for a body, we're going to give ourselves a height of 100 viewport height. We're also going to give the background of that specific color. Margin is going to be 0 to get rid of default margin padding. Display is going to be grid. And then we're going to do font family Poppins. I've really been liking Poppins lately. It's installed on a machine, so I'm not going to bother importing it. So as you can see, it's nice and seamless now. I like that. Okay. Next up, let's take our container and then we'll just take our container. We're going to text align the center, which is the H1 in the paragraph element. Padding is going to be 8 M units and 0, and height will be 100 viewport height. That's what this does. Very small text, which we'll fix. We're going to do an H1. We're going to do a font size of 5 M units, and margin is going to be set to 0. And our paragraph is going to be font size 1.3 M units and margin 0. So now we got appropriate, a nice big old beefy appropriate headline right there. Good visual hierarchy for the subheadline. Okay. So it's already looking pretty good, but we can make it cool, a little bit cooler as well. Also, I'm going to take this real quickly. We're going to apply that to our section as well, which we don't yet have. I do have some markup just to create a little bit of a scroll for us. So I'm going to just copy and paste this part in because there's not hardly anything here. We'll just put that right there, section. And then an H2 in it, and it says totally awesome. So now, if we scroll down, totally awesome. All right. So now, let's beef up that that H2 as well. So I have a rule set for that. We're gonna put that right here. Font size 3M, margin top is just gonna be 8. And that's where we'll end up. All right. So now what we want to do is we're going to deal with our SVG graphic itself. So our SVG graphic currently, actually, I don't even have to do a width 100% because I did have that by default. But we want to get this, make sure that it is positioned to the bottom. So let's take our SVG and we're going to say position absolute, bottom is going to be 0, left will be 0, Z index will be -1 because otherwise it's going to be on top of that text. Overflow is going to be visible. Let's not include that. I'm going to show you what happens. And I'll show you why we use overflow visible. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to, before we get to the parallax, we're going to animate these two clouds here. Oh, I forgot to name my group for my clouds. That's very frustrating. All right, well, you know what we can do? That's okay. We can go back. That Did I close that out? Oh no, I think I did. Oh, I'm an idiot. I realized I can just open up the freaking SVG that I used. So code, nature, images. Oh, I didn't put it in images? Oh, okay, I put it right there. All right, there we go. So now we just select on the two cloud graphics. We'll go back to layers, find out where they're at. They're right there. This will be cloud 1, cloud 2. Probably delete those, by the way. And then we'll just save it. And then, did we make any adjustments to this? I don't think we did. We're gonna have to go back, unfortunately. Copy all the way from there to here. And then do the same thing here. All right, so we're gonna save that. And so now, let's make sure everything's still working here. There we go, it is. So now we can go in our main and we can, we can do a control for cloud. There, oh, it was a high up, okay. Cloud 1 and cloud 2, so we wanna add these as classes. Cloud 1, copy that, cloud 2. Now we can reference in CSS, cloud 1, animation, we'll do cloud anim for, this one will be for like 7 seconds. Alternate reverse, so it goes back and forth. And then also infinite, and we'll just say linear. Cloud 2 will be the same thing, except in order to give it a little bit different animation duration, we'll make this 10 seconds, so it'll look like they're independent of each other. And then we'll go ahead and create the keyframe animation. So keyframes, cloud anim from, nope. We're gonna go, yeah, from transform, translate X, so we wanna move it on the X axis. 0, so we're gonna start from its original point. And then copy that, paste that, change 2, and we'll go to like negative 100 pixels or something like that. So now we see both of them very slowly. Wait, we have to change that. There we go. The other one wasn't moving because I didn't update that selector name. So now they're both working and slightly, you know, different, slightly a different animation. So it's nice and slow. You don't want anything too fast. Now let's get to the parallax portion, which is the fun part, which really makes this all come together. Instead of doing this the vanilla JavaScript way, we're gonna take a shortcut and we're gonna go to Relics.js. All right, so I've actually covered this, I think, I forget how long ago, maybe like 2 years ago. So you can install with npm, blah, blah, blah. There's also a CDN. So Relics.js CDN, we're gonna go here, and we're just gonna copy the script tag. We're gonna go over here, just before the closing body tag. We're gonna open up script. We are literally just going to copy and paste something from the document, and that is right here. That tells you how to use this. It's very, very simple. All right, so any class name relics right here will have these properties here. And so we can also define on them or apply to them certain, let me see here, the properties that will control the parallax effect. So that is data relics speed right here. And you could put all the way up to 10, all the way to negative 10. And you'll see how this ends up affecting things. So if I take that and we look for our groups, and so you want this to work in a way, you want the parallax animation to work in a way that makes sense. So looking back at our document, if we were to scroll this down, I think the thing that should probably move up the most would be the mountain range. They're back the furthest, I think. So let's try that out. So we can Control F, mountain. All right, so we paste this in, and we have our data relics right there. And we're gonna give it a speed of -3. Of course, you want to play around with this to see how it works. So watch this. Look at that. Now that looks dumb, right? Because it's not meant to be seen. But don't worry, once we get everything else animating, it will look cooler. Next up, let's take a look at our trees. So we have a couple different trees that we were working with. For these ones, we're gonna have -4. I think we're just gonna do that for initially. I'll do that for all of them, all the trees. Because we had 3 of them, didn't we? Oh no. Well, let's see. All right, let's look for a hill. And I'm gonna give that one -3. So it's not gonna be -4. And then we're gonna take our lake. And for our lake, what did I put initially? I put 4 there. Oh, look at that tree. Did I not include a tree? And it's just like, whoop, look at that. That's not good. That is definitely not good. Look at the birds flying up. All right, well, I'm gonna find that tree and we have to get it put into that group specifically. So what I could do is I can get the dev tools out, Control-Shift-I, or just F12, and we can try to find. All right, I found it. It is class ST14. So this needs taken out. We'll just put that. I don't know. I hope this will work. There we go. Now things I think should be moving at a slightly different speed. Now one thing I don't like is that this is getting cut off. Now that's where overflow visible should be placed here on the SVG. So now we don't have that problem. So now we have a very slight, actually the tree should probably be -3. Let me see if we can come back. Tree 4, let's just try experimenting and not having them all be the same. Oh no, now they're flying up. Don't want that. Perhaps we could try -5. I just want to create a little bit more separation between the individual layers. I think that's pretty good enough. I mean, obviously you get the point. It's a matter of really experimenting and fine tuning exactly what, how you want the parallax to behave. It's not perfect, but you get the point at this section anyhow. Now, is this responsive? Yeah, it is responsive, although at a smaller viewport, I would probably opt to expand this image or the SVG graphic so we can get it up higher, so it's not sitting so low down there. That way it can take up more. Otherwise, yeah, you would just do that with a media query. Awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys real soon. Goodbye.